Welcome to Part 1 of Merit and P&S Search Committee training. This training is being provided by Human Resource Services. By attending this training, you will learn the process for a merit and professional and scientific search, as well as how to access and navigate Jobs at UNI, our online applicant tracking system. Furthermore, you will learn the best practices for reviewing applicant materials and how to conduct the interviews. Finally, you will learn about UNI's commitment to diversity and about several common errors in the search process that could prevent us from diversifying. Thank you for your services on the search committee or as a hiring official. We appreciate the time and dedication to helping with the hiring of employees for the University of Northern Iowa. Throughout the search process, it is important to maintain the confidentiality of the applicants, regardless if it is an internal or external applicant. The search chair or hiring official is responsible to administer the attached confidentiality agreement to all individuals involved in the search process, including those involved with the interviews. The signed agreements must be maintained with the search records for 3 years. The confidentiality agreement outlines the importance of protecting the identity of the applicants, including their individual qualifications and merits, privacy of all applicants' information, discussions of the search committee, and how to maintain the confidentiality of the search records. As a search committee member, any real or potential conflicts of interest between yourself and any applicant must be disclosed promptly to the search chair or hiring official and may preclude you from continuing on the search committee. For example, if a relative or close friend would apply for the position, keep in mind that you will more than likely know some of the applicants or may have worked with them, such as temporary employees. This would not necessarily be a conflict of interest as long as you feel that you could give that applicant a fair, unbiased rating. It is acceptable to share the current step in the process and timeline to those that inquire. For example, if the position is currently posted for applicants, the search committee is reviewing applications, or you are in the process of conducting on-campus interviews, remember to share information about the position and about UNI in a positive manner. Policy 4.02 Staff Recruitment and Hiring outlines the policies and required procedures for recruiting and hiring non-temporary staff. This policy states search committees are optional for all merit searches and for P&S searches below the P&S annual level, for example, department directors and above. In lieu of a search committee, the search process may be administered by the hiring official in collaboration with the position supervisor if different. Search committees can still be used if desired, but are not required. The role of the search committee is to review the applicant materials based on the required and preferred qualifications of the position in order to determine the most qualified applicants to bring on campus to interview. The search committee will be part of the interview process and make a hiring recommendation on which applicant is the most qualified for the position to the hiring official. Throughout the search process, the main role of Human Resource Services is to provide guidance regarding the search process to the search committee or hiring official to ensure the proper steps are followed. This guidance would include updating the position description prior to starting the search, assisting with the recruiting sources in order to get the best possible pool of applicants, drafting the advertisement and placing the advertisement for external searches, and guidance on how to utilize the Jobs at UNI system. For all searches, HRS will complete the background checks and also a degree verification for P&S searches. After the hire is official, HRS will provide the new hire with a welcome email that provides information on the monthly new hire orientation and also tasks that need to be completed prior to starting, such as creating a university ID number, purchasing a parking permit, and completing the new hire paperwork. HRS participates in several salary surveys and has access to the salary data. For a P&S search, HRS can use this salary data to assist departments in setting appropriate starting salary ranges. The role of the Office of Compliance and Equity Management, OCEM, is to monitor the university's recruitment and employment procedures to ensure diversity objectives are met and equal opportunity guidelines are adhered to. Furthermore, OCEM compiles and reviews the university's statistical analysis and reports concerning the workforce composition by race and gender, including the annual Affirmative Action Plan. For the search process, OCEM approves the recruitment plan and search committee members by approving the requisition and reviews and approves applicants for on-campus interview. Equal employment means all individuals shall be treated equally in all employment processes. That is, individuals shall be considered based on his or her qualifications without regard to his or her age, color, creed, disability, ethnicity, gender identity, genetic information, marital status, national origin, political affiliation, pregnancy, race, religion, sex, sexual orientation, veteran or military status, or any other protected category under applicable federal, state, or local law, including protections for those opposing discrimination or participating in any complaint process on campus or with other human rights agencies. Why is staff diversity important to UNI? Minority and female staff and faculty help recruit and retain minority and female students and staff. In addition, increasing staff diversity results in more differing opinions, viewpoints, and experiences. The University of Northern Iowa has a responsibility to take affirmative action in our employment decisions. We must provide equal treatment for qualified women, minorities, individuals with disabilities, and protected veterans in respect to recruitment, selection, and other employment actions. Here are common errors in the search process that can impact the university's ability to diversify our employees. First, negative stereotyping is the presumption of incompetence because of race or gender. For example, she is female, so she is caring and diligent, but won't accomplish as much as a male employee. Positive stereotyping, also known as the halo effect, is the presumption of competence because of race or gender. For example, he is male, so he must be good at math. First impressions are people's tendencies to judge a person based on one's personal values and beliefs. These tendencies influence the decisions made about a prospective applicant in terms of worth and appeal. For example, if an applicant has tattoos or piercings. Elitism is an error made on the basis to feel superior. For example, believing a degree from UNI more valuable than a degree from Upper Iowa or Kaplan. Raising the bar constitutes a change in the requirements for a position during the evaluation process. For example, requiring additional materials, writing samples, references, etc., from minority applicants to prove they are qualified for the position. Seizing a pretext is an error where a search committee member creates a smokescreen to hide a real concern or personal agenda. For example, excessive weight is assigned to something trivial in order to justify a quick dismissal of the applicant. A search committee member may say, "Applicant seemed nervous during interview, so why keep them in the running?" Assumptions is an error based on the use of personal opinions and misinformation during the evaluation process. It is a type of mind-reading statement of the candidate's point of view. An example is assuming a person from a big city doesn't want to live or work in Cedar Falls. If most members of the search committee are favoring one applicant, then it is more difficult for the remaining members to resist pushing towards consensus. This is an example of yielding to a vocal member. Good fit, bad fit is an error based on the desire to scrutinize a candidate's professional qualifications and competencies. When search committee members express the wish to find a good fit person, it may mean, "Will I feel comfortable and culturally at ease with this new hire?" An example of cloning or good fit, bad fit is looking for applicants that are just like who already work in the department. Prior to a search beginning, a position description will need to be established or updated. The position description will list the required qualifications for the position as well as any preferred qualifications. First, the application materials will need to be reviewed to determine if the applicant meets the required qualifications, followed by the preferred qualifications. For PNS searches, if the qualifications allow for a degree in a related field, you will want to discuss and determine with the search committee what related fields would qualify, then apply consistently. This would be the same for related experience. Note for PNS searches that if they are completing a degree, the degree needs to be completed before the start date. For merit classification, the required qualifications are only those found in the Board of Regents class description. Those required qualifications cannot be changed, but preferred qualifications can be added. For example, the required qualifications for a Secretary 2 would be the same for all searches across the Board of Regents institutions. As a committee, you will need to develop a scoring key to help with evaluating resumes, or the committee can utilize the Jobs at UNI system to rate applicants for PNS searches. You are not required to use both, but you have the option to choose which works best for your search. If you are working on a PNS search and choose to rate the applicants in Jobs at UNI, then a determination can be made on whether to use a numeric rating system, example 1 through 5, or you can use a yes, no, maybe, abstain system. If the committee chooses to use a scoring key through Excel or Google Docs, there are examples of a scoring key on the HRS website and one that you can generate using Jobs at UNI if you are conducting a PNS search. For both merit and PNS searches, telephone pre-screens are optional but encouraged. Whether or not telephone pre-screens are completed is at the discretion of the search committee or hiring official. Pre-approval from HRS or OCEM is not required for telephone pre-screens. This step is beneficial to ensure the applicant fully understands the position, including duties, hours, service schedule, and salary range, and is still interested before you get approval for on-campus interviews. Also, the telephone pre-screen can be valuable to help in narrowing down the pool of applicants to determine which applicants to interview by asking questions or getting additional clarification on the applicant's qualifications. For example, if there are a total of 75 applicants and the search committee or hiring official narrows it down to 10 that are similarly qualified, the telephone pre-screen can assist in determining which 3 to 5 applicants to interview. The HRS website has a sample form and tips for completing the telephone pre-screens. For merit searches, only the position announcement is posted on Jobs at UNI. Otherwise, the search is handled outside of the system. Applicants for merit searches complete a paper application, and that is submitted to HRS by the application deadline date. Merit searches are posted for a minimum of 5 working days for internal merit employees to apply. For some searches, if a lot of internal interest is not anticipated, the position may be posted, internal or external, for 10 working days for internal and external applicants to apply at the same time. After the application deadline, the search committee will receive the application materials for all applicants, including internal employees and external applicants, if applicable, via a Google Docs folder. The search committee will evaluate each applicant and select the most qualified applicants for interview based on work experience, skills, and abilities as it relates to the position description. Make note of any red flags, including large gaps in employment, inconsistent dates, or poorly written communication for positions where written communication is important. Utilize phone screens to provide specific information to the applicants, including hourly rate, schedule, and work duties to determine continued interest and to ask some preliminary screening questions. In order to get approval for on-campus interviews, the merit pre-interview report and applicant spreadsheet needs to be completed and approved by HRS and OCEM before interviews can be scheduled. After an applicant has been selected for the position, the merit search and selection summary form needs to be completed and routed for signatures. On the form, indicate the reasons why the applicant was selected and the reasons for non-selection of each of the remaining interviewed applicants. The reasons should be based upon interviews with the applicants and the requirements listed in the position announcement. Once the merit search and selection summary form has been approved, HRS will provide the information to the hiring manager to extend the verbal offer. Once the offer is accepted, send the offer letter to the selected applicant. Submit the signed offer letter to HRS to start the background check. The applicant will receive an email from the background check vendor, and they will need to follow the instructions in the email. HRS will notify the hiring manager and the applicants not selected for the position after the hire is official. Searching applicants online, though legal, can be a slippery slope and is not recommended. The reasons why are that the information gathered from the searches can lead to an increased risk of possible discrimination accusations. Pictures and comments online can lead to assumptions of the applicant's membership of a protected class, such as age, race, national origin, disability, sexual orientation, gender, religion, military status, etc. You can also obtain knowledge of group affiliations, and family status can also create biased opinions of the applicant. Another reason that it is not recommended is that the information is not reliable information. You could find information that of persons with same names, false information, slander, etc. Previously, HRS has assisted higher level searches like vice presidents and deans with online searches of the final applicants. By having HRS conduct the searches, then only relevant information can be shared with the search committee. The University of Northern Iowa provides a veteran's preference to qualified veterans as required by Iowa Code Chapter 35C. To request veterans preference, the applicant must provide official documentation for military service or proof of disabled veteran status. Once the documentation has been received and verified by HRS, a United States flag icon appears next to the applicant's name in the Jobs at UNI system. For merit searches, veterans' preference is indicated on the upper left corner of the application. Per the Iowa Code, eligible veterans are entitled to preference in employment over other applicants of no greater qualifications. In other words, if the eligible veteran is as equally qualified as one or more applicants, they should be given preference over the non-veteran applicants. If an eligible veteran is not selected for interview, the search chair or hiring official will be required to list the specific reasons why they were not selected, which is also a requirement of this section of the Iowa Code. The specific reasons will be stated in the pre-interview report for P&S searches and in the applicant spreadsheet for merit searches. The first thing that you will want to do to prepare for the interviews is to determine the interview schedule. We would suggest that you pencil in some interview times in the future that will work best for all of the committee members and others that may be involved in the interview process. All interviews must be done on campus, and the pre-interview report must be approved by OCEM prior to scheduling. You will want to allow 3 to 5 business days for the interview pool to be approved. When determining the schedule, you will want to consider other parties who may benefit from an interview, such as the hiring manager, director, reporting staff members, or students. The committee will also want to determine if the interviews will include a tour of the office or campus. Will the interview process include applicant presentations or open forums? Finally, you will want to determine if you will or will not be paying for any or all travel expenses. It is not a requirement for hiring departments to pay for traveling expenses. However, Policy 4.02, Staff Recruitment and Hiring, states reimbursing interview applicants for travel expenses is recommended for applicants traveling 75 or more miles one way to campus. If the department is offering to pay all or a portion of the expenses for one applicant, you need to be doing this for all applicants, if applicable. Most importantly, the committee will want to make sure that they are consistent with all applicants and offering the same type of interview process. If you are paying for traveling expenses for one applicant, you should be doing it for all when applicable. If you are giving a topic to present on for a presentation, you will want to give equal time to each applicant to prepare for the presentation. An interview analysis or evaluation form can serve several purposes. It focuses the interviewer's evaluation on how well the candidate's knowledge or experience, skills, and abilities match specific job-related criteria. It provides an objective means of selecting the best applicant for the position, and it provides documentation to justify your hiring decision if a discrimination complaint is subsequently made by a candidate. The interview analysis form you use to assess an applicant should include the criteria that are most useful to you in determining how well an applicant matches the position. The form does not need to be complicated, but it should cover important points and allow room for your own comments. Each interviewer should fill out one form for each applicant, preferably after each interview is completed, while impressions are still fresh in your mind. When developing interview questions, keep in mind 3 rules of thumb. Ask only for information that will serve as a basis for the hiring decision, know how the information will be used to make the decision, and do not ask for information that will not or should not be used to make hiring decisions. Every question you ask during a job interview should have a specific purpose. That purpose may be to elicit specific information, to obtain some insight into the candidate's personality, or to examine his or her thought process when presented with certain situations. It is recommended that you develop questions based on each major task and responsibility in the position description and on the knowledge, skills, and abilities required by the position. An interview should be as structured as possible so that each applicant is evaluated according to the same general criteria. An interview that follows a general standard outline of questions for each applicant will produce more reliable and valid information for selection than an unstructured interview. There are times, however, when it is appropriate to ask applicants some questions that are specific to them only. For instance, questions that pertain specifically to an individual's application or resume should be asked. It is important to remember that the questions you ask during an interview can result in legal problems for the university if you fail to follow certain guidelines. Refer to the Inappropriate Interview Questions document, which includes the types of questions that are inappropriate by subject area, and also sample questions that are permissible within that subject area. Remember to provide applicants with the overview of benefits. If the applicant has additional questions, they can access our UNI HRS website, or you can have them contact HRS and a member of our benefits team can assist them. Prior to the interview, it would be helpful to the applicants to have a copy of the position description. This will allow time for the applicant to review the position description fully and determine if there are any specific questions that they may want to ask in the interview. Prior to making a job offer, a reference check is conducted to find out more about the individual's experience, knowledge, skills, and abilities from a previous or current employer or other professional reference. Your goal is to obtain sufficient information to either verify or refute information provided by the applicant in his or her application or resume and during the interview. Only job-related information should be requested from a reference. Ask open-ended questions about employment history, job performance, and potential problems. Never ask questions relating to age, race, sex, religion, national origin, or disability. At the minimum, you are required to complete a reference check on the applicant you intend to hire for the position. Reference checks can be completed on multiple finalists to help in determining the best applicant. In Jobs at UNI, the applicant will indicate whether you can contact the reference without first contacting the applicant. The Human Resource Services website includes tips for conducting the reference check and also a sample form to utilize. At the conclusion of the search, the department is required to keep search materials and notes for 3 years. This concludes Part 1 of Merit and PNS Search Committee training. We hope that you have learned something new and that you will continue with Part 2.